Hey there, everybody. How y'all doing? Uh, that was a weird intro. uh, Man, I done forgot how to do intros again. Crap. I'm just doing like a little update on the JP Outlaw. Let's see if I can pull it back. Yeah, that's right. You heard me say pull it back. It's a semi-roller chassis. Let's see. I gotta get the wheels straightened out. That's part of the reason why I say it's a semi-roller. Ta-da! I got this is a AC or a Brigard front bumper. It's got the 400EX front end on it. I don't have a 250R steering stem though, so that's why I say it's just a semi-roller, is because it doesn't roll very efficiently. But I did get some swing arm bearings and bushings and all that to be able to mock up the stock 85 ATC 250R swing arm in this. Once I get the engine set, then I can come in and clip out the center of this swing arm and make my spacers to go into here. And this needs a little bit of machine work. I have to bring the OD up of this right here, or the ID here, I'm sorry, up 1 millimeter. I can get a bearing that is 1 millimeter bigger than the stock 250R bearings on OD here. The only thing is I would have to, well, that one there I could take and trim. Since I got to cut the center out of it to fit around the engine, I can cut it a lot closer to this to where I can fit just a seal in there. So there's that. But you can see I have a bit of a gap between the engine. That's actually the inner bushing for the pivot bearing. But I don't know what this swing arm bolt came out of. I think it's a 400EX. But it fit both the ID of the Suzuki cases and the ID of the Honda inner bushings here. So I don't know what was up with that. It's awesome that it works. It just kind of weirded me out, because from what I was told is the Suzuki cases were 1 or 2 millimeters off of the Honda pivot bearings. But it worked just fine. So as you can see, like I said, I got the motor in here, kinda. So I gotta make my lower engine mounts, but I couldn't do that without a swing arm in it. Now I can take and line up the rear sprocket with where the front sprocket will go, right here, right here, right here. Tickle, tickle, tickle. But so I can get the sprockets lined up. Then I can get my, front sprocket to swing arm ratio sorted, where the center line of this is in reference to the center line of the swing arm bolt. You understand? As you can see, like I said, the motor swings back and forth. One thing I got to do is figure out exactly where the counter shaft sits in these. I believe it's about right there. But I'll take and put a spacer. I'll put the spacer on it with a sprocket and clip to be able to set the sprocket depth, I guess you would call it. Oh, like someone just pulled up here at the house. But so there's that. I got a steering stem clamp on the way. Like I said, I got the Brigard front bumper. I need to get a steering stem, an actual 250R front end, a radiator. I gotta get a brake system on it. I gotta get some pegs. And then once I get the engine in, all the steering stuff on it, steering stem, stuff like that, then I can start setting up the plastics, how the plastics will need to sit and all. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to space the rear deck up off of the subframe a bit to be able to get the rear plastics to line up with the front plastics. See, I really like how they sit whenever it's directly on it. The only problem is, one, I don't have a place to mount here. So it's like they'll have to go forward to about here. be squared up. And then if I run a Suzuki tank, such as this is a LT250R tank. One, I can't use the stock petcock because it mounts there and it sits right on top of this frame rail over here. That's about, you see the gap that's going to be right here, because this is where the front plastics end at, is about right here, and the rear plastics have to slide up to meet with that. As you can see, the very back, the front plastics is going to sit really high with the Suzuki tank on it. And if I remember correctly, a Honda tank won't fit into Suzuki plastics, so I'm going to have to figure this out. This will be a bit of a experimentation. Sorry about this poor video work at the moment, but yeah, so there's front plastics, quote unquote, on it. Let's not worry about there, but as you can see, that's what I was talking about, is right there. So to get the front plastics to line up, the rear deck has to be about that high off the subframe, which is no big deal, and it gives me more clearance between the wheel and the tire for whenever I decide to go to like a 20 or something like that. Because if you see, that's not a bad gap there, but once it's set on it, the rear deck drops from about here to about here, and then that sits about right here. So from the bottom of my hand to the tire, that's all the clearance I have, which would be fine if I only ever ran, you know, 16s or 18s. But I don't know, like I said, it's all stuff I gotta get figured out. So yeah, oh, and I got a let's see, I got a OMF rad grill shroud thing, air duct, so that'll sit up into there like that on the radiator, you know, and it doesn't look bad with the Suzuki plastics, so it's just one of those things I got now. But this is, it'll look interesting with the Honda radiator, Honda chassis, and the Suzuki plastics and motor in it. And I'm hoping it'll run as good as Hans does and handle a lot better. You know, Hans, she handles like she's on rails as it is, so. What's that? PEP rear shock built by RER. So, alrighty, y'all. I'm gonna cut this off now. Sorry, almost 9 minutes long. So, like I said, I just wanted to do a little update on the JP Outlaw Suzuki. It's a 93 JP Outlaw chassis that I'm putting a Suzuki motor in. It was originally built to take a TRX 250R chassis. JP Outlaw 93. But I bought it while I was in Oregon. It had all the plastic mounts cut off of it. You can see all the plastic mounts were cut off, and the lower engine mounts were cut off too. So I was originally going to put a CR500 in it, but I moved back down here to Louisiana. Don't have the work to amass the funds to build a CR500 motor in this and pay to have a pipe made and all that. So I'm gonna put what I do have laying around in it, and that's 4 of these motors, so why not? Alright, y'all, so just wanted to do a little update. I'm gonna get off here now because it's almost freaking 10 minutes long. Y'all have a great day. Bye bye.